Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike and now you can see me finally. I've changed the layout of my videos a little bit. Now you can see me on the left, and on the right you can see the VR recording of the headset. This way I can put a face to the video instead of a voice in the background. I'm gonna use the Pimax crystal light, which was provided to me by Pimax. It just had a update for firmware for the headset and also Pimax Play. I'm also in Sim Update 3 beta. Afterwards I'm going to show you the settings that I use for the Pimax crystal light, and also my VR graphic settings for FS2024 and my colorization settings for the OpenXR toolkit to give the sim more natural colors. So I'm gonna finish my coffee and then we're gonna fly off this little beautiful airfield here in the south of France with the Cessna 182 Quebec, the Q. And let's just have a flight and have fun. Alright guys, see you in the cockpit. Alright guys, so here we are. Let's get some juice in this cockpit. Let me see if my altimeter is correct. Now it is 600 feet. Alright, so I got the battery on. And mixture, pop, full rich, crank the engine a little bit. We're on the brakes. There we go. Let's get the avionics on. Alright, lights are on. Here we are set. I'm not gonna do something very special. It's just a little bit of flying around. So our flight plan is LFix, and we're going back to LFix as well. Alright, so that is set. Let's have say intentions on the background. So let's get the center frequency here, 13378. Transfer. And they got our traffic here, that is 119885. We're gonna transfer that one into there. We're gonna squawk 7000. Here we go. And we're going back here. And it is Ixtazu airfield. I don't know. Traffic. Lima fixed traffic. Right. So I have to do something here. I have to switch off my main monitor. Let me check real quick. Here we go. And get the pass-through off. So you see me double tapping on the side of the headset. That is switching on the pass-through. I can have some tracking issues when I'm moving my head when I'm close to my monitor, which is showing the mirror of the headset, and then the tracking can be a little bit off, and therefore I switch off that monitor and there are no tracking issues anymore. So that's an easy fix for me because I'm not watching that monitor at all. Alright, parking brake can come off, cowling flaps are open. Traffic, Papa Hotel Yankee Kilo Victor, departing runway 08, Ixtazu traffic. Alright, let's go to beginning of the runway. So the middle of the runway is just next to that path that we see here. That's how they collect the gliders. Right, so runway 08, let's set the heading. And man, this is so sharp now. It is amazing in the crystal light. Right, let's hit the baro. There we go, 1018. Let's set flaps at 10 degrees. Set power. And release the brakes. A little bit of wind coming from the right. Very good. Very good. 50, airspeed is alive. 55, 60. Alright, here we go. Absolutely beautiful and butter smooth. Right, flaps up. Let's fly a little bit override between the mountains. Let's lay a little bit closer to the airfield. Wow, this is beautiful. This looks absolutely amazing. It's butter smooth. And the crystal light is so sharp. Coming from a HP reverb, I think everything looks sharp. I've seen it with the Quest 3, that looks amazing. But this is really next level. The field of view is beautiful. These lenses are so good. And the comfort of this headset is really good. And I need a thicker faceplate. I know I do. But still, it's very happy to review this headset here on the channel. So I hope you like this new layout for the video. As we pass the airfield there, just gonna continue here between the mountains. A little bit turbulent, but that's the fun, of course. And I hope you like this new layout. As I can wave at you, say hi, and even with live stream that I have the chat in here, I can talk to you. And you can see, because when I'm looking to the right, you can see my head movement as well. So, and I'm trying to move my head as little as possible or as smooth as possible, and not jerk it around like I would normally do when I'm flying just by myself. So I hope you like this, and let me know in the comment if I have to make small adjustments to it. Right, let's go over this little town. You see the river here. There's a big church up there. Close to the coastline here. So let's have just a little sightseeing trip here with the Cessna 182Q. It's so smooth, guys, and even in the headset, when I'm slowly moving my head, it's butter smooth. No jitters in the headset, no stutters, really sharp. And I'm running this headset at 120 Hertz, and I'm getting around, with recording, around 35 FPS, and recording cost me about 8 to 10 FPS depending on where I fly in the world. So if you're wondering about switching to a new headset, like I've been for the last couple of months, maybe a year, thinking, well, should I switch to a Quest 3? Do I want to upgrade my Quest 3 to something more PCVR instead of a standalone headset? Or if you want to upgrade from a Quest 2, or if you're still using a Reverb G2, know that you can get 3% discount when you use my code flightsim, and I will leave the links in the description below the video. So you get a 3% discount on a Crystal Light or a Crystal Super. And if you have a Reverb G2, they have also a $80 discount if you are a Reverb G2 owner. So just wanted to let you know that, guys, because that's gonna save you some money. And then I'm gonna show you my settings that I use for Pimax Play and for the sim, and also of course the color settings that I use to get the best colors in VR using the OpenXR toolkit. So the airport was 600 feet, we are at 1200, we're 600 above. It's my first time flying here, guys, so if I can't find the airport back, that's my fault. I think it's there. Yeah. Props going full. Reducing the speed. First stage of flaps. Gear is down and welded. Right, around 65 should be a very good approach speed. So we got a little bit of wind coming from the right. It's not much. 11 knots. Okay, so we have to stay at a little power. So we're going full flaps. 75. Right off these asphalt, taxi strips, taxi things. Just right of it, that we are in the middle. Here we go. See? Because it's a glider field. Do we get the stall warning? Not at all. Very smooth landing, guys. It's very smooth. Well, let's taxi in front of the hangar here. Alright, these flaps are coming up. Alright, let's put the aircraft right here and get the parking brake. Car flaps open. All lights are coming off. and battery and master switch are off. Alright, so let's dive into the settings for Pimax Play and then the OpenXR toolkit settings. Alright, so headset is off, and this is Pimax Play, the software that you get with the Pimax Crystal Lite. And in here on the top you see the current version is 1.40.1. I can check for updates here, set your language, that's all in there. And then in here you can set or restart the headset, restart service, pair for your controllers, start Steam VR, anything in the room settings. But all we care about are the device settings. So once I click here on device settings, you'll see them right here. Alright, so here device, you get your device information. The headset just had an upgrade for the firmware, so we're on version 1.0.17. You see my serial number. I have the room lighting set to 50 Hz. That's here in the Netherlands. If you're in the States, maybe it's 60 Hz, depending on where you live in the world, of course. Recline mode, that's off. That is nice when you want to watch movies with the headset. We're not doing that. And then here you got the refresh rate, and I have it set to 120 Hz. So if you're getting 30 FPS with 120 Hz, you get a really smooth VR experience. It's very, very smooth in the headset. And even if you get 40 FPS, so it goes times 3, and that's 120. If you get a solid 45 FPS, you might want to use the 90 Hz version. The 72 Hz I didn't use that one, and the 90 Hz upscaled. That's still in a test phase, but I don't like this. The quality is just worse. Alright, now the screen timeout, that's 20 seconds. You can set the brightness here. Here's the IPD. You can set the IPD with a little wheel on the headset. Make sure that it matches your interpupil distance. Lots of apps in the App Store for your phone to measure your IPD. But hey, if you're used to VR, you already know how to measure your IPD. This is just vibration for the controllers that I'm not using. And then that's the rest. Now go to games. I have my render quality customized. Because I have a 3080 and a 11700K chipset, a CPU. Only 10 GB of VRAM on the GPU, and I've got 64 GB of DDR4 RAM memory. I cannot run this headset at its full native resolution of 2880 by 2880. Yes, I can do it, but I get a very low FPS, maybe around 1920, and I don't like that. So default setting here is 10. So if you go to high, it's gonna be 10. If you're running the headset or using the headset with a medium spec PC, start as low as 0.5 and then slowly bring up your render quality. And I have it set to 0.63. In that case, I can leave the headset on this resolution. I can freely play the sim without recording and get 45 FPS, or with recording I get 35 FPS and still very good gameplay. That's why I'm at 6.3. I can go easily to 0.7, 7.3, maybe 7.5. But then when I want to start recording, it's gonna be low FPS. So for me this is a all-round setting. And I'll play with these settings every time I'm gonna fly. So that's why it's on 0.63. Fixed foveated rendering. I have the Pimax Central Priority Rendering set to on. The quad views here are not checked. They are switched off because I'm using Pimax XR by Mbucha and not the Pimax OpenXR. My preference is set to performance. Smart smoothing is off, lock to half frame rate is off, because I need to have if it's on 120, so log to half frame rate is 60, it's not gonna work. Hidden area mask, these are the range that's beyond the visual range, so that's not being rendered now, so that will give you some extra performance. 5 compatibility, I'm not using that, and here are color options for all colors, red, green, blue, so you can manipulate the colors for the headset, but I'm using the OpenXR toolkit for that. I think that's a lot easier way to do that than this one. Then in the general tab you see here I am using Pimax XR, and I can also set Pimax OpenXR as OpenXR runtime, but I'm using Pimax XR, and for me that gives me it's very stable, and it also gives me a little bit of extra performance. So that's why I'm using a Pimax XR. And as another thing, with the normal or the Pimax OpenXR runtime, every time I go from 2D to VR, I'm placed outside the aircraft, and then I have to reset the camera or reset my center point with a controller, which I don't use. And I will show you how you can fix that with Pimax XR. And then in the advanced tab here you can set your IPD offsets. I didn't use this. Local dimming is set to on, and then the pass-through is checked because I use the pass-through sometimes to get something from my desk. And then here you can see fixed foveated rendering is on and smart smoothing is set to off, and I'm using 120 Hz. Okay, and this is a Pimax XR, and I'll leave the link to this one in the description of the video, so you can download this one. Well, maybe you have this one already. Alright, so Pimax XR, that's the active OpenXR runtime. The version is version 0.44, and here you can see recenter headset on startup. And as you may also recenter in game by holding for 2 seconds the system button and the trigger on any motion controller or Ctrl-Alt space on your keyboard. I have this one set up. I jump from 2D to VR and I end up right in the cockpit where I used to be. So I disabled here the visual play space Guardian, otherwise you will see a blue circle below you where you're sitting. That's the Guardian. I'm not using the Guardian, I'm sitting at my desk in my seat, and that's where I'm gonna stay for the flight. I have here prefer frame rate over latency, that's incompatible with smart smoothing, and enable quad views rendering with supported applications. And here you can download or update the quad views foveated utility. So from here you can download the quad views, install them, and then this one, normally this one is grayed out before, unless you install this one, and then you can check it here. And you can also show a mirror mode, so if you have some friends looking over your shoulder while you're wearing the headset, you can show the mirror mode and they can watch that. And you can also use that for recording, but I think the quality is a little bit less when you record from the mirror mode, for the mirror view. So that's Pimax XR, link below the video in the description. Alright, and here's a program that not many of you might be familiar with. This is the OpenXR Explorer. So what this does, it's giving you all kind of information about OpenXR. You can see here on the top, I'm using the Pimax XR, that's the unofficial, and I can change the runtime to Windows Mixed Reality or Steam VR as well if I want to. But the most important part is right here at the bottom. So you can see here, this is my API layer from Ambucha, and that is Quad Views version 1. This is the OpenXR Toolkit API layer, and this is the API layer from Novendor, and that is for recording in VR. That's what I'm using in OBS. So this is my OBS OpenXR mirror plugin, and that is that layer. So if you have anything that's double here, you might want to check your registry and delete one, but that's for another video. But these are the ones that you need. If you're not recording, you probably have these two or only this one for the OpenXR toolkit, and then of course the Pimax OpenXR would be also in here. Alright, so that's basically it. This is the OpenXR Explorer, link below the video in the description if you want to check that one out. Okay guys, so here are my settings for the OpenXR toolkit. And first you want to go to your menu tab and then click on show expert settings, and then go back to the top menu. Sometimes my headset will change a little bit, but anyhow, alright, so performance, FPS is now off, upscaling sharpening is CAS, sharpness 40%. I'm not using the fixed foveated rendering from the OpenXR toolkit. Turbo mode is off here because we're using that in Pimax XR. And that one is off, that one is also off. We go to appearance, and here we can set our post-processing. So you can use the sunglasses. It was set to light. Oh, that was from an experiment that I was doing. So contrast 62, brightness 45, exposure 47, saturation 45, vibrance 11, highlights 90, shadows 38. And this my world score is at 100%. And this will give you some good colors and exposure settings for the headset. I'm used to all these settings. I'm a photographer. I do a lot of photo editing myself as well, and so I'm very used to all these little settings in here. So I'm using my knowledge of photo editing to bring the colors back to a more realistic one. So this is the display that I'm using. Display resolution is 2400 by 2841. So, and then the color gains for red 45, green 46, and then add a little bit of blue in there. That's 53. Field of view, nothing's changed here. Disable hem mask. I don't need to. I'm fine recording everything in here. And this is just the menu settings. So that's what I'm using in OpenXR. And let me show you my VR settings for the sim. Right, let's go to the settings here. So this is the 2D image. So we're going to VR and the VR graphics. So my exposure compensation is minus 0.15. I'm using DLSS and I've set it to performance. Foveated rendering, I'm not using it in this one. I'm using it in Pimax XR, and that's the Pimax Play. Sharpening is 50. Reprojection mode is off. World scale, I put it on 103. That's giving me a more realistic cockpit dimensions. Low latency is on. This is kind of the boost settings, so the turbo mode. Dynamic settings is off, and then the global render quality. So terrain level of detail is 100. Off-screen terrain precaging is high, and then you can see my buildings, tree and plants medium, rocks off, grass is low. Objects level of detail 105. I may use auto FPS sometimes, so that's why I have this the dynamic settings set to off. Volumetric clouds high, texture resolution is high, 16 times, water waves are medium, and then my shadow maps and my terrain shadows. Context shadows set that to off. That's giving me a little bit extra performance. windshield effects at high, ambient occlusion medium, cube map. Now you'll see this. So it's medium to high, and some low reflection. Raymar's reflections are off. They look amazing in 2D, but they look terrible in VR. Light shafts are high, glass cockpit refresh rate is high, characters quality is medium, air traffic quality and air traffic is set to off, road traffic is low, sea traffic is set to ultra. I'm using global AI shipping traffic. You have to set it to ultra, and then you get a lot of boats everywhere, all over the world. And fauna, I have that off. I'm not interested in animals in the sim. So those are my settings, and you might copy them, use them, tweak your own settings, and that's what I'm using, and I'm getting a very good performance on my medium spec PC. Alright guys, I hope you like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, it will help out the algorithm. Leave a comment below if you like this new format of me sitting behind the in front of the camera and also showing the VR mirror while I'm flying here. I think it looks better than just a cockpit and a voice. So hopefully you like it as well. Don't forget the links in the description below the video for the Pimax crystal light if you want to have a discount. And remember, if you own a Reverb G2 and you want to upgrade to the crystal light, you get $80 discount from Pimax, not from me, from Pimax. And if you use my code 30sim, you get 3% off on any crystal light or crystal super. Alright guys, you will find the links in the description below the video. This was Mike, 30sim. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.